black magic. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Final Fantasy Randomizer community presentation on RPG Limit Break. Tonight, already in progress and on your screen, this is the Round 4 Double Anti-Bingo tournament match between 18th seed, the Hangry Canuck, and 6th seed, Deadpulse. As you can see, the race has begun. We're deep into the tournament. I'm in the commentary booth tonight, RockSolid84, joined by Demon RHK. So, Demon, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well, Rocksolid. Thank you very much. Again, like you said, deep in the tournament here, we've got some really great runners. Really going to see just some really fast action going off tonight.
We really are. Already we saw a pickup there in Matoya's Cave. Chat's asking some questions about bingo, so I'm going to touch on how that works just quickly. The way the double anti-bingo works is that each runner assigns the other runner a forced row. You can see that red and that purple poker chip over there on the board. They've both forced each other to do row 2, so they're both going to have to complete that row. After that's done, they'll each have their choice of any other line they want on the board. Once those 2 lines are done, their bingo requirements will be met, but they still have to finish the game, which means going to chaos and terminating chaos.
So, getting some quick pickups here. We got a ship from Vicky. We got some decent magic here at level 2. White Mage is going to pick up Wall. Black Mage is going to get a Warp. That's going to be a little bit good for a little bit of speed movement here going on in the game.
Yeah, Black Mages are looking good early on. We've got Ice 3 at level 1 and Warp at level 2. One thing that's going to be really important for those Black Mages, though, is going to be finding Quake and Brack, because both runners are going to be obligated to use those spells in order to finish this game. So with level 1 and 2 already down, are you starting to feel a little bit nervous, Demon, if you're one of the runners and wondering, oh geez, is that spell going to be very deep?
Well, I think there's 2 ways to approach it. You can either just start worrying right now, or you can be like, listen, okay, it's not a super sprint, it's a little bit of a marathon. Let me get through. Now, if I'm not seeing either one of them in Elfland at 3 or 4, now I'm getting worried.
Yeah, so we haven't been to Elfland yet. Deadpulse has gone back to Chaos and is actually using Confuse strats. Maybe we've got going for Garland Boxing here, but I'm not sure why Deadpulse would be using Confuse when he's got access to Ice 3.
Yeah, maybe trying to go for some Garland Boxing here, especially having taken, the mages already, as well as, using only the burst equipment, trying to get most of that row done already. Or the diagonal, rather.
Yeah, no, I think that's what we're seeing. I just didn't realize that you were allowed to use the status spells and still get credit for Garland Boxing. So I guess the way it works is if you use damage spells, then you're out of luck.
I mean, I guess it makes sense, it's only punching, even if it's only punching himself.
Yeah, good point. Punching himself also counts as Dark Moon points out in chat. Chaos, though, not going down without a fight and letting a toxic loose on Deadpulse. Deadpulse is taking his time with this fight.
Yeah, a little bit rough here, just down to that black belt, and it's gonna be a little iffy here.
Yeah, Chaos is coming out with all of the nasty spells and skills. We've got Squint coming out. Fortunately, this black belt is shrugging off these squints and toxics. Deadpulse catching a little bit of a break here and may manage to get Punch Garland down.
Yeah, just gotta hold and pray here that your resistance is just gonna hold out through all these squints, and stingers, and toxics, and just a plethora of status effects being thrown out.
Yeah, so we see the pickup. The Adamant is actually the item up in Matoya's Cave. Chad asking, is instant death a status? No, it's not. The way that it works in this game is that there are 8 different elemental classifications of spells. Status is one of the classifications of spells, so that's going to include Confusion and Hold. But instant death, there's a few spells that inflict that. But sometimes it can be a bit confusing because Toxic, for example, is a poison-based spell that results in instant death, so go figure that one out.
Looks like Canuck's coming up on Garland here. I wonder if we're going to see... It looks like we're going to be much of the same here. We're going to be boxing Garland down both ways.
Yeah, and we're getting simultaneous long, I feel, on stream. And so, yeah, to that ongoing question in chat, does instant death count for Garland boxing? I should have to think it didn't, but then again, I came into this thinking that Confused wasn't valid either, so shows you how much I know. We've got a paste bin somewhere with all of these things defined, and I'll take a look at that once I get a minute and clarify it in chat later.
Toby here, on his last legs, which is that 4 hit points, trying to finish off this Garland here.
Yeah, this is really the longest Garland fight. And the Angry Canuck also having trouble wiping the Garland right there.
Yeah, unfortunately he took that poison, so even without that getting the punch there, that would have been just a, slow tick down to death.
Okay, so Garland has about, I think, 100 to 150 HP with this scaling. So when you're just punching, it can take a while, especially if he's scaled up.
Yeah, it's not so much the amount of hit points. It's just when this early in the game, you're still doing single digits, 1 punch here, 1 punch there, maybe 2 if you're lucky, all getting through.
Yep, and I'm just pulling up the Garland boxing here in the paste bin. So here's what it says. Defeat Garland with only unarmed punches. Buffs/debuffs are allowed, but no direct damage or instant death spells. So clearly instant death spells are out, direct damage spells are out, buffs like temper and debuffs like slow and I guess confuse are allowed. So we're calling confuse a debuff, I guess, is how we're getting through around that particular legalese there.
Yep. Canuck has taken a second wipe, is clearing out a little bit more, getting some levels here off some of the stuff. Dead finally got through Garland, picked up a canoe for his efforts to go with the crystal that he hadn't quite picked up yet.
Okay, so happy to see that. The canoe is a really important mobility item. Opens up a lot of things with these.
Canuck coming in through. It's Garland round 3.
Yeah, let's just hope it doesn't go to round 15.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a matter of keeping that one person in the first slot at the black belt. The other 3 mages probably aren't going to be doing a lot with these punches.
No, and if I'm the Angry Canuck, I'm taking the second fight. Oh, there's a good critical. That's going to help big time. I'm taking the second fight, and if I wipe again, I might consider just moving on and coming back later as Garland toxics down, looks like the whole party, or at least just leaving a black mage up. Yeah, I'm starting to think that this might be too difficult for a 0-level party.
Yeah, they might have to try to take a couple levels here, maybe go down and check some other things, but in we go, round 4.
Yeah, of course, you're hoping that Garland isn't hiding important items to move on. Deadpulse picks up his adamant at Matoya's and sort of catches up some of the progress that the Angry Canuck had made since they decided to do Garland in a different order. But Deadpulse with Garland down, probably ahead, and we're going to see Deadpulse moving on now. Looks like going to stock up a little bit before choosing between Elfland and Provoca.
Yeah, gonna stop in. Looks like heading over, gonna probably turn on that adamant real quick, just see if maybe we can get a cheap item here.
Yeah, and that's a good call. With the ship, it's a quick check. He's already ran across the bridge, so doesn't have to give any time up for that. And also, these boxes here can be important early resources, although not really too much coming out of it. For Deadpulse, as he picks up the bottle, that's not something that's going to come into play until we get the floater.
Canuck is through, got hit, picks up his canoe, and is now going to be out and on the inner sea along with Deadpulse here.
Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see if we get any route divergence. At this point, the next major decision is going to be, do you do Earth before moving on to the remaining ones? Without the rod, you can't complete Earth, but you can get the incentive item, and there's also trap tiles in there, which is why you might see the Angry Canuck dip in. But there's also lots of other choices. We could go to Deals with the canoe. We could go to the ice cave, and it looks like Deadpulse is going to go down, maybe to Ordeals.
I wouldn't really be able to fault it. I mean, you do have early warps, so getting through Ordeals is not big. You have, what, 2, 3 different spike tiles you can check in there?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of the early Ordeals play, especially when you have Warp. You want to get a few extra levels. You can access Elfland from the South Dock, do any shopping for levels that you might not have seen yet. I think it's a great play, but we're going to see what Deadpulse shows us. Sarah Sand calling out the Elf to Crescent play in chat while we see Fade at level 3 white. That's going to be pretty important if we have a red mage, but I don't know if either of them do.
I do believe Canuck is running 1 red mage. Level 4 white is loaded with Life 2 and Invis 2.
Yeah, Deadpulse is feeling pretty happy about that white mage right about now. That's some good magic.
We've got a Chime for sale here in Elfland. Unfortunately, looking through the magics, I did not see either of our 2 needed spells of Quake or Brack showing up here at level 3 or 4, so we're starting to get to that little bit of that worrisome point.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty important for both of them. They've both taken 2 black mages, so it's not like we're going to get into a situation where they can't finish, but having those spells at a high level makes them, well, you're going to have less casts of them, and it can be tricky sometimes to brack down Kraken if you've only got 2 casts because you're level 26 and it's at level 8.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting it's one of those weird positions you get in bingo where I'm not leveling to get through the game, I'm leveling because I need spell slots.
Yeah, that's a funny one, isn't it? So the Hangry Canuck is about to give us a look at the Crescent item as he's the first one to that town. By a step.
Yeah, both of them here. You're just following each other's footsteps, seeing what we've got available.
Yeah, now this just goes to show, again, coming back to how hype of a match this is, this just shows how good these runners are. They've already navigated quite a bit of adversity dealing with that Garland, and they're making their way through a difficult seed, and they're almost screen for screen.
We've got some Oxale, so C is a little more open than it was previously. The armor shop here in Crescent looked like it was very friendly to our mages. I believe those were silver +5s I saw.
Okay, well, if you're correct, that's going to be pretty important early armor for those mages. Oxyale is a bit of a whammy because we're going to have to get in there at some point because we've got to defeat Kraken with Brack, but there's no incentive. So it's not somewhere you want to go early. Deadpulse does look like he may be headed down to that waterfall/sea area, but I wouldn't do it without checking all the other incentive items first because you don't want to go in there without Brack if you can avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing worse is maybe having a double dip here, because while you do have to defeat Kraken, you can take the gamble, but there's very few times that I want to have to be gambling on a Brack, and it's when I'm diving Topher.
Yeah, no, I'm agreed with you there. Deadpulse is gonna do, the right thing, or at least what I think is the right thing. Check Ordeals first. After that, there's the waterfall location still left, and anything else that these items open up.
Alright, so Deadpulse in here playing with pillars. We've got Canuck going through a fight here. And we're through already for Deadpulse. We're going to see what we got on our spike tiles and what we got in some chests. Not a spike tile you'd really like to see.
No, that's pretty much just a waste of time. Our tracker calling out Quake at level 6, so at least there's one of the ones we're going to need. But that means that we're probably looking at a level 7 or a level 8 Brack.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Melmon yet, so it could be at 5, but, you know, just playing your odds, the odds aren't good.
Okay, Deadpulse picking up Herb. That, of course, is something you'd have to go back to Elfland to check. Might be worth it. Elfland is not that far from Ordeals. And this Lobster tile, it's not anything grindable, but it'll be some important early experience with that Lit 3. If it were me, I might take it 2 or 3 times just to get some levels of some kind. But Deadpulse doesn't need any of this. Yeah, he's moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I can see moving on. Going down to a single Lit 3 with some decent armor, if that was the +5 silvers on your mages, you don't need to worry probably too badly about getting melee down in one shot. I might have taken a couple, at least run your lit cast out.
Yep. So Deadpulse instead, heading up and checking the herb. This makes sense. It's the closest check and gets the slab again. A bit of another whammy. Can't do much with that other than translate it until we're in the air.
Yeah, we've got all of our late game incentives we're looking for. You might be looking for here, but just that floater's still elusive, so a lot of this just hasn't panned out for him here in the short term.
No, and so the only solace that you can pretty much take if you're either of these runners is to think, well, the other guy's probably not got it either. But here's the thing. The Hangry Canuck, we've got some divergence, is going into Volcano. If Canuck finds the floater now, well, Canuck might feel behind, but will actually probably be ahead at that point with the vastly improved mobility that he'll have.
Yeah, we get a look at level 5 black magic, and we get the bad news. That there is a spell out there that it is at 7 or it is at 8. Okay,
so definitely not something that Deadpulse wants to see. Cure 4 there at level 5 white magic, maybe a little bit of a consolation prize, but the Angry Canuck moving on in Volcano. We're going to see, I think I'm not sure if he checked the trap tile up in the armory or not already. I feel like he's been through too quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if he checked any of that yet. Deadpulse going to be diving Earth here.
Right, so this divergence, both of these locations are incentivized. Who is going to come away with something that's going to grant that first advantage?
Canuck just ripping through here, skipping all the boxes, finds himself an Agama if he wants to try to take a little bit of easy XP.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it's putting up some stiff resistance, and the Angry Canuck is not getting his run, unfortunately has to reset. Not as big of a time loss in Volcano as maybe some other dungeons, but yeah, still setting him behind. This is a bit risky because even if you find something good with this incentive item, you've still got to deal with carry or else walk it out. So a bit of a risky play from Canuck here, but that's what you got to do to get the W sometimes.
Yeah, now speaking of, on the bottom of your screens here, if there's something I want to see on a spike tile when I have Lit 3, it's Gersharks and Big Eyes.
Yeah, you couldn't draw it up better. Lit 3, 2 black casters, and you've got XP pinatas. Deadpulse may take a beat here and get up to level 20. So
yeah, absolutely, and on top of that, the second tile to get out, because the Hollow Giants here being one set of grinds on the inside and then the bookended by a different set of grinds is actually mummies was mummies, so it's just straight value all around there.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about that is that, well, this grind actually works for a black belt grind as well as getting the mages up to spec, because what you can do here is you could let the mages take a nap and then just punch down the Gersharks once you're level 22 plus. But it's a bit risky, first of all, taking on that particular tile with the level 20 black belt, and then too, you've got to get past the mummies on your way out. So it looks like Deadpulse is not going to go quite to that extent. He's just moving on with his high level mages.
Yeah. Now, a little bit of what could be a heads up at some point is I do believe that there were. I may have seen it wrong on the stream here. I do believe I saw a Thor hammer at some point, maybe in a weapon shop, if that's possible.
Okay, so you're saying that would be a lit cast for the...
Yeah,
for
it just gets something so you can get through, because you can punch down the Gur Sharks and the big guys, but you need something to AoE down your friendly neighborhood undead.
Oh, absolutely. Something like a light axe or a mage stick would be really good for that. I'd be a little bit scared of even the Thor hammer, because if there's Skur mummies in there, then they're whiz mummies rather, they might survive it, but definitely workable.
Chat pointing out, we do have us a super sword, and it did roll positive, so that is a very nice, either early until I get up to having a bunch of punches at once, or even post then, I've got a backup on my red mage or my white mage.
Yeah, I would actually say that Mass Mute's pretty much a luxury for both of these runners. They're probably both going to be relying on the fists of that black belt. Of course, like you said, it's never hurts to have a Mass Mute to cover up until, or to have that backup. And the Hangry Canuck is rocking a red mage. Maybe that would make it as a good backup. Thing is, black belts, they don't tend to need backups once they get up past level 32.
Yeah, extenuating, 3 and 256 bad ideas here. Usually you're not going to need it, but sometimes better safe than sorry.
Yeah, definitely. You're never going to say no to a Mazmine that's rolled up. So the Angry Canuck is got a bit of a garbage tile here with a bunch of Garibs. Going to check some boxes, and Deadpulse is going to give us a look at Astos, which is I think that was the loot.
Yeah, I believe that was crown for loot, so Astos going to put up a little bit of a fight here, but yep, indeed it was a loot.
Yeah, so Deadpulse could check for more trap tiles here, but again, deciding that there's nothing better than speed, moving right along and heading over now to Crescent. Having just picked up the loot, I suppose he's going to join the Hangry Canuck in Ice Cave.
Yeah, at this point it's probably looking like the Ice Play, especially, you've got Warp. If you just wanted to get the incentive, you can just get in, get out, no problem.
Yeah, so this could be interesting because Deadpulse found a really good grind and has more progression in terms of items, but the Angry Canuck may have made the right play in terms of getting progression faster as he picks up the TNT. That, for all we know, could end up turning into the floater.
Yeah, we got us another. Unfortunately, it's a fetch quest, so you don't know how it's going to play out yet. Canuck still in a really good position here. Is a good 5-ish levels behind. I think I saw Deadpulse up towards 17 on a lot of those light warriors. Canuck, I think, just hit 11. But it's just a matter of, once you get into a mode and you find your tile, you can just, levels basically just start flying by at that point.
Yeah, well, let's talk tiles for a minute, though. They've both almost got a line lit up, which is the top left to bottom right. And if they wanted an option, they've also got row 5 right there. Of course, their second line is not going to be the thing that ends up slowing them down. It's going to be their assigned line, that row number 2. That's getting that Brack spell, and well, I guess that's the main challenge that they've both got, is just getting the Brack spell and then getting the airship at this point.
Yeah, they got to find Brack. It's going to be a 7. It's going to be at 8. If you're Canuck, you're more than hoping that set that is going to pop up to 7, and it's going to be something your Red Mage, Red Wizard can look into. But it's just a matter of where we're going to see it pop up. As far as your other ones, like you said, at this point they've both almost got the top left, bottom right here. They just have to go into Sky and take a look at some technology.
Yeah, and look at that. Once again, we had the screen for screen there. Of course, it was a bit of a false high five because they're not really in the same place in terms of what they've done. But wow, these runners are just blasting, and they're not going to let their opponent win this easily.
Yeah, they're like even with the little bit of divergence we had and just a slight advantage in levels one way compared to the other, they're still pretty much lockstep here. I mean, they've seen the same things, they've got the same items. It's just a matter of where the execution goes from here. Assuming this TNT is going to turn into something, because it is going to be limited what availability it can be, just due to the fact that we're running out of non-airlocked spots. So once you get into the air, I think it's really going to be the show you where their mindset's at.
Yeah, and look at this now. I didn't take this into account, but Deadpulse hasn't seen the volcano item yet. And so instead of going straight to caching in the TNT, he's going to go spend some time in the Gurgu volcano. So the Angry Canuck, though, picking up Quake, moving on to do that check sooner. We could argue that he's Ed, although the level advantage that you pointed out for Deadpulse is certainly not at all something to be ignored. Look at this, though. Here we got a new grind in the volcano.
Yeah. Zombie Ds, I like the Gersharks better, but the Zombie Ds are a little bit more, just a hair more accessible. And, if you can punch them down easier and not have to worry about getting the levels out, might be a little bit better on the overall.
Yeah, the accessibility is great, and just that location is really good for other reasons too, because you've got those lava tiles right there. So it's easy to just damage your mages down. Sometimes it can be difficult to get them to take a nap when you want them to. So that's an extra convenience that the volcano and ice locations have.
Yeah, there's nothing like being able to dan your people on demand.
Yeah, definitely. It feels very satisfying. So Deadpulse had done that grind check, but then following Canuck's lead in terms of not really checking boxes, doesn't even check the Agama tiles, moves on to just go straight to the incentive. And the Angry Canuck is going back to Marsh maybe to get his 5 bats down?
Not sure. We'll have to see what the split in the direction here and what the thought process is.
Oh, the TNT. He's just walking the TNT. I don't know why he's walking from this direction, but oh, he also has no, it's the bottom, not the Mystic Key. I was thinking he might be checking the trap tiles in Northwest Castle here.
No, but I do believe he might have the crown.
Well, not according to his tracker, and he does walk past.
No, you're right.
And shoutouts, by the way, to Melee Wizard doing the tracking tonight and doing a great job. Lighting up the little icons that make runners happy and audiences ooh and ah.
We got us a Ruby, so just another fetch quest kind of opening up a couple other locations here.
Yeah, this is an awfully long question, but with those 2 locations left, I mean, there's only a certain number of places that the floater could be at this point that we haven't seen. We haven't seen the sky item, and I don't believe we've seen the Corneria check, although they do have the key. No, they don't.
They don't have the key yet, so
okay.
we're not going to see the Corneria locked yet, but it's, we've got now a couple of more open checks. We'll have to see what opens up here. Canuck's going to take a lovely jaunt through the woods back to his ship. Deadpulse with a little bit, parking it on the coast of the river mouth there is going to be into Titan's Trove just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and the Hangry Canuck taking some time with these ogres. We'll get back to that because we have a rod. So, still no sign of that floater.
Yeah, we've got one more incentive check. We can get behind Titans here. We can get the Sarda. We can see what Sarda's holding out for us. Canucks seems to be just kind of taking a little bit longer road around here, but seems to be taking a little bit of a walking grind at points, taking a couple of extra fights that Deadpulse may just be passing up for a little bit of that earlier experience, having that few level disadvantage, trying to make that up.
Maybe he's parked his ship all the way over here in the sea stock. Yes, that's the issue. He ended up walking all the way from Crescent Lake to the Dwarves instead of taking the ship to get there from Ice cave.
So, our good friend Sarda decided to bestow upon us a cube. So I have to ask here, do you like Sky? I like Sky.
Well, I do, but we don't have the chime yet, do we?
Chime is in the shop at Elfland.
Oh, for 48K, that's right. So, oh no, they gotta grind up, get that chime, go to Sky. I mean, because they don't have the key, so they can't check Corneria locked. The Sky is one of the only places left that they haven't seen that I'm seeing here. It may have to be there.
I mean, Sky, I think Waterfall might be on the table, but yeah, it's we're getting down to the nitty-gritty already.
Yeah, Waterfall. And Deadpulse is actually heading to that area now. So with the Oxy Ale, they could check the Waterfall and then, well, because they need to have Brack before they go into Sea Shrine, or at least they want to have it. But it looks like Deadpulse is thinking, well, this is a forced, basically double dip, and I'm going to have to go into Waterfall and then come back to this area later.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you've got to go through and get here and either come back or decide that I'm going to take the big risk and just go for a different Kraken. You know, you have to go through when you have to go through it. Plus, this may be forced just because your Brack spell might not even be here. It might be airlocked.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking, is that there's a good chance it is. I mean, of course, it could be at level 7 on rack right here, which will make Deadpulse's life a lot easier. I was thinking, not knowing that, I might go back and do some grinding, grind my black belt up to wherever I wanted to be, and then also have the money for that chime, because I do like Sky. And it's a great place for XP, it's a great place for money, it's a great place for progression when it's one of your only spots left. And there is, though, Brack at level 7. So Deadpulse has made the right decision.
Yeah, not quite the worst case scenario of it being stranded at 8.
No, and much to chat's disappointment, we do have Brack at level 7. That is definitely going to make things easier. Not only do we have it now before going into sea, but also because it's level 7, you'll have that many more casts of it.
Yeah, and I might be a little rusty here, but I do believe that is that slot mage learnable in the on-rack 7?
With on-rack, there are 2 slots, and I think the second one is the one that you can get pre-promotion. So Brack being in slot 1 would mean that you'd need to promote to get it, if I'm remembering that correctly.
All right, so it looks like Canuck's on his way back to his ship, or actually is taking a southerly turn.
Yeah, well, and Deadpulse getting the big news, though. There it is, the floater is in Waterfall. So Deadpulse is going to go back, get in the air, get promoted, get maybe the other item checks done because he still needs key, so maybe pops the bottle, maybe checks the slab. It has to be breathing a sigh of relief at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to crack the slab yet, but maybe if you're in the area already, definitely going to go ahead and crack the bottle. See if maybe you can get that key and then just have to worry about clearing out your board from there and getting your grinds done. But definitely a good... You finally got that accessibility, you've got that aerial option that just speeds up the rest of the game so much here, because sailing around the world hurts.
Yeah, no, and good point about the slab, because once they have the key, they're going to be able to buy the chime, and they will be in go mode technically. So they don't necessarily need to get but they would need to get the tail to promote in order to get level 7 Brack, though.
True. And then it becomes the 50-50 of the problem is both of our runners are running black belt. You don't want to promote your black belt, but you got to promote to get your magic. So the question is, okay, where's going to be the sweet spot where I finally decide, okay, I got my grind done, I got some actual levels on mages so they have spell slots, and now it's time to go turn on the tail.
Yeah, well, 2 candidates for that grind, though, the Deadpulse is found already. I mean, there's that one with the great sharks and the big eyes, or even the zombie dragons might be good enough. once you Dan everybody else.
Yeah, and even so, with those being good, I would still wait until you get a couple of these checks out. At least try to see, maybe do I find the key? Because I find the key, cool, I've got like 3 extra super easy accessible grind tiles in Temple of Fiends and in Northwest Castle.
Yeah, fair points. So the Angry Canuck has found the XP Bonanza, looks to be taking a few of them at the very least to get into that level 20 range, and there's the key from the fairy.
Yeah, definitely the best news here. That means that the residents of Lefane, well, actually, on that note, I think the residents of Lefane here are going to get a visit after all.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, you know you need the tail, and it looks like Deadpulse has got a nice long run here, too. I don't know if that's something that he knew he had, but yeah, you're right there next to it. I can't see why you wouldn't do it. We don't necessarily need to check the black magic, but have we seen Fast?
I do believe we have seen Fast. I'm not sure which level it was at. It might have been, I want to say it was at 5 or 6.
Okay.
But sure enough, our good friends in Lefane, on top of their hospitality, are giving us a tail. So now we are absolutely good to go. Now, here comes a question of taking a look at this bingo board. You only need to examine the computers in Sky 3. But do you really, you got that option in the back of your head, do you really want Sky now?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, talk to 10 bats in Earth Cave. Collect and keep us silver, copper, and gold. They've already got silver and gold. It depends on how dialed in they are to that copper, silver, and gold bracelet tile, I would have to think. If I know that I've got that, then I might prefer to just go into the bats in Earth Cave.
Yeah, because the bats in Earth Cave are going to be a lot faster than getting up all the way to Sky 3 and checking all those computers and dealing with the encounters on the way and this and that. As far as that, you know you're going to find them in shops. You've already seen at least 2 of them, I believe. I don't know if we've seen the coppers specifically. Actually, no, we've seen the copper. I'm not sure if we've seen the gold, because I think the coppers are in Canaria and the silvers were in Provoca.
Okay, well, let's hope that's the case, because the gold's the easiest one to find. You're always used to checking that, and you know it has to be in one of the armor shops. Deadpulse is actually going back and looks to be using this seafood bonanza tile to get all the way up to wherever he wants to go.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be sashimi all around for our runners here, so get comfortable, because you're going to see a very distressing amount of sharks meet their end.
Yeah, this one is not for the environmental protectionists out there. A lot of shark fin soup. And I don't know what these big guys are supposed to be. Maybe they're some kind of jellyfish?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd risk eating them, but we'll see. They're delicious enough for experience, and that's all the black belts care about, rather.
Good point. So while they do that, let's take another look at the board. We already think we know what their second one will be. As far as the required row, they're going to have to defeat Lich with Quake. They've got that. Defeat Kraken with Brack. Deadpulse has found that. Talk to 5 bats in March. That's not too much. Spend 100,000 grand in one shop. Well, they're going to have all that money that they need after this grind is done.
Yeah, and houses were like 4K, so, a couple taps of the button and you'll be there.
Wow, that's some expensive housing. I don't think I've ever seen them roll that high.
So, still going through our sharks here, we're going to see what our levels are like. I'm seeing 24s down on Deadpulse's side. Let's see what Canuck's coming up to after this fight. Canuck actually has gone past and is at 27 now. Mostly that Deadpulse is still has 4 living light warriors, and Canuck on the other hand has banned to 2. So getting those levels a little bit faster here has been on the tile a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's notable, isn't it? The decision to go to 2-man strats and to really power level and focus on one black Mage. That's a bit of a veteran move, I think I'd have to say, because the Angry Canuck knows that he needs a lot of casts on that Black Mage to get Brack to work, and it might be better off just taking one up a lot rather than taking a few to a medium level.
Did we say one Black Mage? We went no Black Mages.
Yeah, well, I mean, at some point, you got to go with one, and it looks like it just kind of happened to the Angry Canuck. Easily enough just to dip out of here and save up when you've got the black belt as high as he needs to go. And it looks like the Angry Canuck is already past 32, I think, so maybe headed all the way to 42.
Yeah, I think just go to 42, make it safe, and at this point, 31 it looks like was there. And no worries about it, just going to go all the way up, make it as painless and as by the books, by the numbers as possible here.
Yeah, or as painful as possible if you're looking at it from the perspective of those poor fiendry fights in the Temple of Fiends.
Yeah, sometimes you like big numbers, and especially the ones that are 4 digits to start with, numbers that aren't 1.
Yep, but it looks like Canuck is gonna take, I don't know if that was 32 or 33, but is headed out now. I like to play. I think if you want to win against the highest caliber of runner, you've got to take some chances. So I understand not going to 42 here.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's going to be, where do you feel comfortable at? 32 on these flags. I think you're pretty well safe, unless you run into something extra nasty like a really super high evade or armor or stats on Kraken 2. Probably about the only thing, but.
Yeah, and it's an easier decision to make when it's a grind that's more accessible like this one is. If you're at the bottom of ice or something and you find your grind down there, you might have to make a hard decision and think, okay, well, there's no way I'm coming back here. But with Earth, you can go back with your tail between your legs after trying Topher, and you can get the grinds and still make it work, because that means that Topher is really tough, which means that the other runner's going to have a hard time too.
Exactly. I mean, is everything that you've had to deal with so far with all of your, okay, well, I got these spells in bad places and the items send us all over the place, but your opponent's dealing with the same thing.
Yes, and so this is interesting. The Angry Canuck bringing back... Okay, does go back and brings up a Black Mage. I don't know if the Red Mage was resurrected by mistake or if this is intentional. Canuck, starting to leave point area, decides to head back, looks to be needing some items, stocking back up on some heal potions. Meanwhile, Deadpulse is continuing to take experience, and I don't know if that was 33 or 38 I just saw on the screen.
I'm sure we'll see a flash by here in about one more punch, so we'll be able to take a look.
That looked like 36. My screen's a bit blurry. Yeah, Chomel's saying in chat that it was 35.
36. Yep.
So it would be 36 now. That makes sense. So continuing on the theme of runners being in the same place at the same time, the Angry Canuck is now actually going to go down and is looking to be the first to light up a tile on row 2. And that's going to be a big, loud alarm for Deadpulse, and sort of light a fire under that runner and say, look, it's going to be time to move, because once he sees that one light up, he knows there's going to be more that are going to come after it.
Yeah, we're going to see if Canuck's going to, which I would honestly assume is probably going to happen, is going to stop by and have a nice, long, lengthy book club chat with his bat friends.
Yeah, I would do that here. It does get them very close to that row 5, which, as we were discussing before, might end up being faster, especially if we know where copper and silver are already. So, yeah, Deadpulse taking longer to decide to go down there, but is now doing so with a very dangerous black belt.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the extra levels are going to make a difference. I mean, it really depends on how Topher rolled, to be honest with you, on where the level sweet spot ended up being. But if you roll a tough Topher, those extra levels, every level is, extra damage, getting up toward those extra punches even.
Yeah, so the Canuck picking up the crown on his way past. Now, Deadpulse has already been through this and didn't get anything significant from it. So, wait a minute, does the Canuck still not have the airship?
Actually, I believe that might be right. I believe is Canuck still not in the air?
Well, according to his tracker, that's the case, and that would explain a lot of things. So it's interesting, but it might not end up hurting him that bad because he's just about to be the first to Quake Lich, and he does have his grind pretty much done on the black belt. So it's not like you can say that he's that far behind, even though he hasn't been flying around and doing stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lich is trying to hold on to that diet.
Yep, so Sarasan pointing out in chat that Canuck hasn't been to OnRack, which would mean that, he's not in the air because it was the waterfall robot, I believe, holding on to the floater.
Absolutely, it was. And finally, Lich breaking his New Year's resolution, eats some delicious cake, and goes down.
Yeah, well, you can only pass up on temptation for so long as Deadpulse runs around and executes a few bats in Marsh.
Yeah, so our rows are looking up pretty well here. We've got 2 tiles, 2 of them lit up one way for Canuck, 3 of them lit up the other way for Deadpulse on those required rows. Of course, noticeably missing there is still the Bracken the Kraken, because that's going to be our real hang-up.
Yeah, well, it looks like Deadpulse is headed in that direction now, as he promotes, is now going to be able to buy the Brack spell, and is probably going to go to sea directly after that. Very different paths being taken by these runners, as the Angry Canuck still doesn't have the airship, does have Lich Quaked, but it's got some time to make up for in terms of going down to that northern continent, and is not going there now.
Looks like Deadpulse ducks in to try to look for that missing armor. Unfortunately, only finds some steel armor in Gaia.
Okay, so what does that mean for the bracelets then? Because haven't we seen all of the towns by now?
We probably have seen all the towns. They may not have checked all the armor shops. I do believe I didn't see anybody go to the north side of Melmond because, it's out of the way. Why would you ever go to the north side of Melmond? Nobody goes to Melmond voluntarily anyway.
You know what? Whenever I forget an armor shop, it's usually that one. The Angry Canuck now, he's on the scent. He's headed in the right direction, but is probably going to check ordeals first. Exactly the same thing that I would do. Unfortunately, it's just going to be a bit of a time sink for him.
Yeah, he's gonna get through here. He's gonna get through. Unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately / unfortunately, it is. I do believe that. No, this was the herb, I believe, from Ordeals.
Yes, the herb was here, and then the herb turned into. Okay, can't remember.
No, but as you said, this is the play that you would make. I mean, I would go Ordeals first. It's you never want to touch the Onrak continent more than once, so every time you look, it's like, okay, please don't make me go over there. Deadpulse down. It looks like I believe we're on Sharknado and heading our way down to Kraken right now.
Yep, so this is a situation in which his beefy black belt is just going to have to hold back and let the black mages do their work. Of course, it's nice to have such a high level character because at least he can absorb some hits. But if we get unlucky, Kraken will do Kraken things and come out with a high damaging spell or something that could target the black mages. Shouldn't be an issue at these levels, though.
No, at these levels, the black belt should have no problem surviving. It's just a matter of, you know, actually getting that brack off.
So get your guesses out in chat. How many bracks you think it's going to take to bracken the Kraken? As we get one shot, and it's no good. Two shots, still nothing. So we're going to go for 3 and 4. Of course, we've got about a 28% chance here. This is the third one, and it works. It's broken into pieces. And Deadpulse lights up a square that's got to make the Canuck worried.
Yeah, that's the... You're looking at, you got one eye, your eyes darting over to the bingo board every so often. You see that square light up, and now the worry sets in. Especially in his case, where it's like, okay, Kraken's been bracked, but I don't even have the airship yet.
Yeah, or the brack spell. So
or brack.
Yeah. Okay, so what's Deadpulse up to now? Still needs to Quake Lich, and maybe he has never picked up that Quake spell as he's back in Provoca here.
He's going to the armor shop, he's looking for the gold bracelet.
Ah, yes.
It's like, I don't check these armor shops, what am I supposed to do? And there they are, gold 3s actually.
Yeah, and for 20k, looks like he's already spent his money, so that's not going to be an issue there. But definitely going to buy them for their defensive benefits.
Yeah, actually it's like, oh, I guess since they rolled so well while they're here, I'll go ahead and pick up a couple, why not?
Okay, so Herb turned into Slab. The Slab is going to turn into Tail, but can't check that until you have a floater.
Right. So coming back here, gotta go in here and pick up our copper. And at this point, we are a Lich away, it looks like, for Deadpulse being ready to finish.
Yeah, there's Fast at level 5, as we thought. As if we needed any more weaponry for these black belts. There's double their damage. The Angry Canuck gets his Slab translated, and yeah, it does definitely seem to be a step or two behind at this point, because that's a bit of a long quest chain to get that floater, to get that tail, to get that brack spell, to get over there and brack Kraken. Rube's asking in chat if it's possible to Quake Lich in Topher. Yes, it is possible, and it's legal also. So the chances to Quake Lich are a little lower, but not so much lower that, like, what Deadpulse is doing here is the right play, because he's going to be able to Quake this Lich, and it's going to be much faster than going all the way down to the bottom of the cave.
Yeah, the odds of hitting a status effect on a Fiend in Topher, I believe, are pretty well half across the board. So I believe it's 1 in 4 on Lich 1 and like 12.5 on Lich 2, or the other way around, it's 12.5 and 6 or something.
Well, on Lich 1, Quake is pretty effective. I'm not sure about Lich 2. I think it's... Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know the stats on that one. I think I heard 1 in 5 the other day. I don't know if that's true.
Well, it's still only Lich 2. It's just a speed bump, so it'll take the cake pretty easily still.
Yeah, exactly. So the Angry Canuck getting the bad news that he cannot learn Brack until he promotes, and he heads back out looking for more items.
Yeah, it looks like he's headed up the waterfall. He's finally going to find his floater here. I mean, it's a little late compared to his opponent here, but still, I mean, it's only 53 minutes in. It's a little late to be in the air, but with everything you already have done, it's still got to feel okay.
Yeah, don't count the Canuck out. Topher is always going to be Topher things. Deadpulse does still have to Quake this Lich, which could take a while, and we don't know what the rest of Topher has in store.
Unfortunately, just like Lich 1, Lich 2 eventually gives in to the temptation of delicious cake and is gone.
Yep, it must be his birthday. So Deadpulse gets a nice run through the fire floor and is straight on to carry.
Yeah, at this point, you know, you're feeling good. It's just a matter of where does Kraken roll, because that's the, you know, and people talk about Topher being the great equalizer. Kraken 2 is the equalizer of the equalizers.
For sure. Deadpulse going for the confused strats. I like that. I like that swagger. Of course, it's not particularly relevant with that level 42 black belt. All that really matters is, have I pressed A yet on these early ones? Kraken is where you're going to see the real resistance.
Yeah, went for the confused strats, a little bit of showboating in a good way there, in a fun way, and then just presses A and carry turns into a fine mist. But yeah, as we were talking about in chat, definitely, you know, these required, Fiend kills with spells. Lich 2 is probably, of course, the easiest, being the first of the Fiends, the easiest one you're going to see. You don't want to be in here trying to bang Tia 2 or anything like that, but, you know, Lich 2, Quake, not a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So the Angry Canuck is about to get in the air finally, is going to go through and get that progression. Deadpulse is just about through C. Let's see what this Kraken fight looks like.
Here we go. All right, looks like we're stacking up. We're stacking up the black belt here. We're getting some fasts off. Looks like we're fasting. Was that also a fast on the white mage, or just a backup on the black belt?
I know Canuck likes to do 2 fasts on the black belt. I'm not sure what Deadpulse's strategy is.
Ooh, well, it doesn't matter with that kind of a hit, because down goes Kraken 2. That was hefty.
Yep, and that's what fast on a level 44 black belt does. One more boss before the big show. We got 2 left.
Yeah, I got Tia 2. We'll have to see if Tia 2 decides it's going to do anything interesting for us today, and then good old Chaos.
The Angry Canuck looks to be checking Corneria locked. Guess this is the first opportunity since he just picked up his key.
But do I have to go to Lefane? Please, do I have to go to Lefane?
And finds the dud in Corneria locked. Here's Tiamat. We've got fast going out, and there's almost 2,000 hits, or 2,000 damage right off the bat. Walling the white mage just to make sure that we keep life as long as possible. This next swing is probably going to do it. And there you have it, Tiamat is down.
Yeah, impressive staying up after the first hit. Definitely rolled high on the hit points, but unfortunately didn't roll anything interesting enough to actually put up a fight against a black belt of that level.
Yeah, so Deadpulse is on the final steps, and here we are against Chaos, and let's see how many turns it takes to trivialize this Chaos, or will Chaos surprise us?
Yeah, get your guesses in. Over under 4 turns.
Oh, I'm going under.
Oh, I think it'll be 4 on the dot. I think it'll be 3 swings. Oh, was that only about 600? Yeah, only 4 hits. Looks like we got a little bit of evasion on Chaos.
Right, this is where lock can be important.
Swirl goes out. We got some damage actually coming out from Chaos here.
Chaos doing his best to make this interesting. With Cure 4, Deadpulse is not in much danger, though.
And finally gets all those hits through 1,500, and that is the end of Chaos.
Get your GGs out in chat for Deadpulse. which is the winner of tonight's round, coming in just under an hour, 59 minutes and 36 seconds. What a quick seed.
Yeah, that just flew through this.
So the Angry Canuck is forfeiting, seeing that Deadpulse is finishing and still a ways before lighting up his last line, decides to go for the DNF. And so we've invited them into the booth, and I believe we've got somebody here with us now, and it is Deadpulse. Deadpulse, how you doing?
Oh, wonderful. How's everyone doing here?
Oh, well, we're doing really well. We had a lot of fun watching. You went through that seed really quick, and it was back and forth all the way. Did you feel like you were ahead?
Not after I spent 5 minutes punching Garland. That was probably the most thrilling this channel has seen in a long time.
Yeah, that Garland was pretty evasive, wasn't he?
I spent 6.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of Garland on our screen from both of you. It was an interesting start with you, simultaneous Garlands for more than a few minutes there. It was definitely entertaining for everybody here. And we also joined in here by Canuck GG's as well. Well run.
No, I picked the wrong way to go.
It happens to everybody. Sometimes it's a 50-50. I'm going that way versus I'm going this way. Sometimes you do the early waterfall play, and sometimes it's just you go the other direction.
Yeah, Deadpulse was supposed to hit Earth first, got his grind out of the way, then went down Waterfall and got that.
I think I took a detour. I think I went to Ice and Volcano before I ended up hitting Waterfall.
Yeah, you both actually did. Were playing very similarly at that point because Ice and Volcano got checked. It was after that the divergence happened, and the Deadpulse, he went down to the Northern Continent, which Canuck didn't do until the very end, it seems.
Yeah, I got caught up in the fetch quest that led to the Ruby, and the Rod was behind the Ruby, so that led me towards Lich 1. By the time I got everything done, I hit the Waterfall last, so that's why.
Yeah, you both went for ordeals before going over to the waterfall area, and both fell for that bit of a red herring there. But of course, it was necessary because you needed the tail. Maybe Kanaka, you didn't get to that point, but oh yes, you did. You saw that. So we needed the tail in order to get Brack, but you wouldn't be getting that until you had the floater, and so the floater was really the key to the seed.
That Brack, though.
So, what did you guys think about the board once you saw it, and where your thought process is on? Of course, you both came up with the same thing. Row 2 being what you wanted your opponent to have to do.
I actually almost didn't pick Row 2.
That's the same with me. I was considering giving what was that, bottom left to top right.
I thought about going for Row 3 at one point.
I don't know. I mean, when you see 2 spells on one line, you don't have to go for it, but I would have been remiss if I didn't, because if I didn't go for that and all of a sudden Cake and Brack are, level 6 and level 7 promotion locked, and here's me like, oh, I wish I should have picked that.
Yeah, it was definitely an attractive line, and sure enough, it was at 6, though not promotion locked, and 7, so it was probably definitely the lengthiest of the choices on the board.
So, Canuck, did you do the Gersharks and Eyes, the big eyes as well?
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, that was probably the best grind tile we saw from either of you.
I'm pretty sure the Ruby chain is what set me behind you.
Yeah, but the only other grind tile I think we even seen that was even remotely close was probably the zombie dragons in Volcano.
I don't know how tough those gas dragons were in the waterfall. I never really gave them an attempt.
Yeah, at that point though, Deadpulse had already been in and out with the floater, and you hadn't quite even been up there yet. And you both already had the Gur Sharks, which is both of the grinds you took. You know, you took it up to, I believe, 30. You took it up to the mid 30s, I believe. Deadpulse, you went up to what, 40, up to the actual 42 or close to it.
Yeah, I think I went to 42 or 43. Did you like my double take when I went to go buy the gold bracelets? I'm like, oh, I need one of these. And I'm just, wait a minute, they're +3. I can use these.
Yeah, it was one of those things of, you know, it's like, oh, there's the gold. Wait, there's a 3? I might as well buy a couple of them, I guess. So one question I did have is, was there a little bit of a change in tone in the middle? Because you know, you're both sitting on that top left, bottom right diagonal for a while, but then, you know, it gets closer and closer, and it's like, I'm not going to have to touch sky at all. I'm not going to have to go to that sky instead of it. On the other hand, maybe this one looks a little bit better.
No, I had column 4 in my mind the whole time.
I had 3 in mind, which I don't like. It just makes me indecisive. But I knew if Nuke rolled low and I still wanted to use it, then I pretty much had top left, bottom right, as long as I did Garland boxing. And I was in the same mindset as the Hangry Canuck. Great minds think alike. Column 4 was going to be my next play.
Well, I went down to the volcano, but I was only like, I think I was level 9, so I was like, I bought Confused. I'm like, she'd fall, but I'm not sure if I could take her down, so I figured I'd just come back. But I mean, it was a massive +2 down there, so that was good for the black belt.
Oh, I enjoyed that.
So besides our minutes of Garland boxing, what other thoughts did you guys have? Anything stand out in particular here, other than, you know, the fetch quest going back and forth across the continent?
I played the first half hour of this seed like the worst I've ever played the game, I think.
It took me about 15 to 20 minutes to get back in the groove. I've been doing a lot of ST pod round practices, and when I went in, I'm like, oh wait, this is Dab, where all of the incentive items again.
Yeah, I wiped in volcano, I wiped in ice. The encounter table was rotten on the sea. It's just the first 30 to 35 minutes of the game, I got nothing done.
Yeah, it looked a little rough. It definitely had some setbacks, but you know, you did persevere, and were even with the late air, being in the air a lot later on, you still weren't, because by the time you were in the air, you were, you know, I buy a spell, I kill a fiend, and I'm right there as well. So there really wasn't as much of a difference as it may have seemed.
No, I probably would have finished in another 10 minutes or so. Because I just would have went and punched Carrie down, then I would have went and talked to the bats, then I would have defeated Kraken, then I would have went in, so.
Alright, so Roxlad, do you have any other thoughts on your for what we had this amazing race we got to go through here?
Yeah, well, I think we've done a pretty good job of getting the gist of the race, and I just want to point out in terms of, you know, where we're at in the tournament. Let's get a little update here. So with this win, Deadpulse is going to advance to the semifinals, and after that it'll be the finals. But it's not over yet for the Hangry Canuck, because we do have a losers bracket, and so with this loss, the Hangry Canuck is going to drop down into round 5 of the losers bracket, which means that the Angry Canuck will be able potentially to battle all the way back up and see Deadpulse again in the finals. So this might be, ladies and gentlemen, this might just very well be a preview of the finals. So it's a great race, run very well by both runners, and I think we've asked all the questions that I've got anyways. Maybe we'll be ready to do the wrap up, or were there any other thoughts from you, Demon?
No, what about Deadpulse, Canuck? Any other final thoughts on the seed here?
Oh yeah, I just want to say it's been a real treat to race the Hangry Canuck. I'm a huge fan. I subscribe to your channel and watch you whenever you race. So this was really exciting for me. Thanks for the race. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for putting this on. And yeah, it was a good race. I hope to see you in the finals.
Yeah, GG to you, man. You ran her well. No complaints here. I lost to the better player tonight, so I'm not going to complain. Thanks for the restream, the commentary, and everything else. And good luck moving on, man. And if I see you in the finals, we'll have a rematch.
Great. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Let's get this all wrapped up. So, want to give again a shout out to the whole crew. We've got Melee Wizard doing the tracking for us tonight. We've got my co-commentator, Demon RHK, doing the restream. We've got tournament admin, Dark Moon. We want to also give special thanks to RPG Limit Break. We can't do the show without the stage, and so we appreciate having your channel for this run. This has been a presentation of the Final Fantasy Randomizer community. If you like what you see, come check us out at FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. There's all kinds of resources about how to play the game. You can join the Discord and get involved in races, or just find out when they're going to be in watch, like we did tonight. There's also a YouTube channel if you want to binge watch and just go back and check out all the old spring tournaments and everything as we advance along this tournament and get ready for the next spring tournament coming up. You can always get caught up and see those old classics, so that can be done there on YouTube. But that's going to do it for us. Thanks for coming along for the show, and we'll see you at the next match. This has been Rock Solid 84 for Demon RHK. Keep your head up, people, and don't forget to go fast.